Do you want to know what this video is not about? It's not about an HOA debate and whether it's a good thing to live in or not a good thing to live in. In this video, I'm going to tell you what an HOA is, how it's run, and I am going to give you some pros and cons about living in a community with an HOA. So stick around. Hey everyone, this is Danae Hewitt, your go-to DFW Realtor with Brico Realty Services. Thank you so much for tuning in this week's video. And I'm going to go through all the things HOA. What is an HOA? It's also known as a Homeowners Association. This is an organization that is within a subdivision or a community or a condo building that makes up and enforces rules for properties and the residents. Those people that purchase a property within an HOA are automatically members of the HOA, and they have membership dues, which are known as HOA fees. How the HOAs get started is when the developer is planning out the community, they're also going to put an HOA in place, knowing that as the residents start to build the homes and live in the homes, an HOA will be there. The HOA is run by a board of directors, and that is a voluntary position, and it makes up people that actually live in that community. So your neighbor can be on the board of directors for your HOA. This board of directors oversees everything with the community, like managing the finances, maintaining the common areas, collecting HOA dues, enforcing rules in the community. And then based on their specific position within the board of directors, they have those tasks as well. On the board of directors, these people have a duty to maintain the well-being of the community, and they are only to act within the scope of their HOA authority. What are the HOA rules? Each HOA has what we call a CC&R. These are the covenants and restrictions that the HOA has in place for their residents. These CC&Rs help to maintain the overall look and feel of the community, as well as helping to maintain the property values in that community as well. If you're looking to buy a house that is within an HOA, if you find out the name of that HOA company, you can Google it, and maybe they'll have their CC&Rs online, but a lot of times they may not. So really what happens is when you're under contract to purchase that house, the title company is going to get those CC&Rs from the HOA company. Once they get them, they will send them to you. And you have a certain number of days, which is all negotiated up front, to review those CC&Rs to decide if that is an HOA community that you actually want to live in. Some of the things within a CC&R, like I said before, are maintaining the exterior of the property to make sure that all of the homes generally look the same and that no one is putting a different paint color than all the other houses in the neighborhood. They also want to make sure that people are maintaining their lawns and upkeeping them. Another thing is fences. They want to make sure that fences aren't falling down or that it doesn't need to be restained. They really want to make sure that the neighborhood looks nice and cohesive and it's presented well when guests and people drive by. So that's really high level of what an HOA is and who runs the HOA. Let's get into a little bit of the pros and cons. Some of the pros are the amenities that come with your HOA. You're probably going to have a pool and a park and a clubhouse even, or maybe a volleyball court or a basketball court. These are amenities that typically people don't have the money to pay for, and so they use their HOA pool and clubhouse. And the nice thing with those is you're not paying to maintain that on a daily basis. You pay a small fee to the HOA company, and they are the ones that are hiring the people to come out and take care of it, and you don't have to worry about it. Another advantage of an HOA is, like I've said, is maintaining the exterior of the homes. and making sure that they are well kept and well presented. If you live in a nice big neighborhood and there are a lot of trees and different plants that are there, well, those are all going to be maintained and taken care of by that HOA. My family and I, we live in an HOA community, and a couple of nice things is that around a national holiday, they'll put flags up around the neighborhood, which is a really nice thing to see. Around Christmas time, all of the common area trees will have some Christmas lights in them, and it just really helps to decorate our community a little bit better. An advantage of an HOA is because there are rules and regulations about how people need to maintain their homes on the outside, is when people are coming to purchase a house and they see that all of the homes are generally taken care of, then that can make that neighborhood a little bit more desirable to prospective buyers. There is nothing worse than having a home that's not in an HOA and the next door neighbors don't take care of their lawn and it hasn't been mowed in forever. Well, that buyer coming to look at your house is going to see that next door neighbor and go, oh, I don't know if I want to live next door to that and see that all the time. You're not going to find that within an HOA community because most likely maintaining their lawn is in those CC&Rs. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages of an HOA, and that is the cost. You can pay your HOA dues on an annual basis or on a monthly basis. And if you are going to purchase a home that is in an HOA, you're going to have to factor in what that monthly or annual cost is, along with your mortgage payment and your taxes and insurance payment. I've actually seen some buyers trying to get pre-approved for a home, and the HOA fees on a monthly basis were going to be way too much money for them to be able to afford on a monthly basis. So when you are looking at homes and it does have an HOA, make sure you're asking your agent if they can find out how much those fees are on a monthly or on an annual basis. Another disadvantage for an HOA is you have to get permission if you want to change the exterior of your home. And a lot of times when you ask for permission, you're not going to get a response for a couple of weeks. And I have had personal experience with that. Our garage door broke. We had to replace the entire thing. And what we decided to do was to get a darker color garage than what we had previously. Well, it took our HOA a couple of weeks to get back to us before we could put our new garage door in. And that a couple week delay was not fun at all because we are still in our COVID times and materials and supplies are taking longer to get to us. And ordering that garage door took some time to get to us, along with waiting for the HOA approval, whether or not we could put that color door on our house. Things like that situation can get pretty annoying, but for us, living in an HOA was the best decision that we made. Speaking of HOA fees, if you don't pay your fees, you can get in a lot of trouble. Let's say you are selling your house, but you haven't paid your HOA dues in a year or two. Well, that HOA company can put a lien on your property to get those HOA fees paid. And if you are selling your house and there is an unpaid amount on your HOA account, then those fees must be paid out of your pocket before you sell that house. Because it is not fair for the next buyer coming into the property having to pay for what you didn't pay for when you lived in the house. And I have also seen that if you're not paying your HOA dues and the HOA does put a lien on your property, there's also going to be interest charges on top of that. People may think, oh, it's just the HOA, it's not a big deal, I don't need to pay it, but it really is. They will take those necessary steps in order to get those HOA dues paid by you. Mine and my family's experience with an HOA really has been a great one. We have been living in our community for 4 years. We pay a little bit over $500 a year for our HOA, and for us, it's totally worth it. We came from a community that we were starting to really not like anymore. It was not in an HOA, and the residents just weren't really taking care of their lawns very well, and my husband is very particular on how our lawn looks. And we actually had our next door neighbor that was parking their ATVs on their lawn, on their grass. And for us, that just wasn't something that we wanted to look at and see every time we left. When we were looking for a new house, we said we definitely want to be in an HOA community that's going to help regulate people's lawns and where they park extra vehicles. In our HOA, we can't have any recreational vehicles parked for more than 24 hours outside of our house, which means boats and ATVs and RVs. Being in our neighborhood right now, we love it because as we look around in our neighborhood, we see homes where the lawns are maintained, the exterior of the homes are maintained, and we like that because we know that that is going to help maintain our property's value whenever we want to sell it down the line. I hope this video gave you some information about what an HOA is and a little bit of pros and cons. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you have not subscribed to my channel after getting this far into the video, then what are y'all doing with yourselves? Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you are notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.